I can't wait for Trump to lose his New York civil trial. This is where he's being charged with fraud for inflating the values of his property or de-inflating it when he needed to in order to fraud uh, New York. It's hilarious because it's possible that he will lose the ability to run a business in New York City, which would mean a lot of businesses that he has headquarters there or owns, he's going to lose control of.
For closing arguments today in former President Trump's civil fraud trial happening here in New York. The former president had planned to address the court himself. Now it looks like that's not going to happen. ABC's Aaron Katersky following the case closely in Lower Manhattan. So, Aaron, first of all, thanks for making the time this morning. I want to get to this because this is sort of the latest chapter in this battle that former President Trump has had with this judge in particular. So what played out and why is the former president now not expected to address the court himself?
Take you back to January 4th when the defense attorneys first informed the court that former President Trump would like to deliver the closing argument, at least a portion of it, himself. Mike, that is a highly unusual request for a defendant who is represented by attorneys, but former President Trump wants to do it. The New York Attorney General, Letitia James, objected to that request, but the judge said he would grant it provided Trump agree to certain conditions to limit his remarks to relevant material facts that are in evidence, not give a campaign speech, and crucially, not impugn the judge, the attorney general, the court, no incendiary remarks. And he
You know Trump won't be able to abide by those conditions. All he loves to do is do campaign speeches and lie about the people charging him.
gave the former president a number of deadlines to agree to those terms, and the former president never did. And so the judge said he assumes the former president will not be speaking in court here today, but Trump on social media said he still intends to show up and would still like to address the court and do a closing argument. So we'll
They actually should let Trump do a closing argument because then he would just incriminate himself even more.
see what happens.
Always the drama with the former president, particularly in these court cases. And Aaron, before we let you go, I mean, I mentioned this is kind of the latest chapter in this back and forth with the judge and the former president. We know the former president fined a couple of times, I believe, for violating the gag order that was put into place throughout this process. What is at stake here for Mr. Trump?
Well, you're right about that. The former president is under a limited gag order because he has made some disparaging remarks about not only the judge, but what really irked Judge Arthur Engoron were the remarks that Trump made, especially on social media, disparaging his law clerk, who sits right there on the bench with him. The two often confer on legal matters before the judge issues rulings from the bench, and a couple of
Trump loves to go onto his social media platform, that is failing, by the way, and just make lie after lie after lie. His social media platform is just his way of being able to post hundreds of messages about nothing.
of different violations earned Trump some fines. But look, even though this is a really weird request to deliver his own closing statement, for Trump, this is a last chance potentially to save his business. He's facing a $370 million fine and the possibility that he could be banned from New York real estate. And we're still not quite sure what that could mean for all the buildings.
Wow, a $370 million fine. Does this dude even have that amount of money? He is obviously broke, which is why he's constantly begging people for money, and his real estate records show that as well. It's the reason why he inflates the values of his property.
Buildings around here with Trump's name on it. Would they have to come off? Would he have to close down, move everything to Florida? So he could be facing a ban from the very industry that helped propel him to the White House.